Awesome. Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is the first session of the application development track for GSE UK. And today we're super excited. We've got Sujit Neeb from BMC Software. And you're going to talk to us about elevating your DevOps game with Jenkins for Python apps, multi-platform development. So if anybody has any questions that they want to ask, you're all muted. But you can hit the little chat button. You've all done this before. Ask questions, and I'll try and sort of peel them off and ask Sujit, or else Sujit will monitor the chat as well, and hopefully we can have a great discussion. Go ahead, Sujit.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, for introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session, and thanks for taking some time out to join this session. So today's topic is about elevating your DevOps games with Jenkins for Python application. It's going to be a multi-platform deployment. I'm trying to make it again simple as possible because there might be a chance few people new to this type of concepts, and few might be already aware of this. So trying to just combine both audience and making it simple to demonstrate and to give maximum output for this topic. Yeah. So and feel free to ask questions in the chat window, and we'll take it at the end of this session. Yeah. So quickly about the agenda, what we are going to discuss in this session is why, what, and how about this topic. We'll slowly go and see how this is going to help you and solve your problem at enterprise level, or even for team level, or even for the BU level. Then we'll see some step-by-step guidance for download and installation of some stuff that is involved in this session. Also, we'll set up from scratch, and I will show some configuration how you can do that at your end. And it will be very simple in terms of setting up things. So feel free to go through those slides and just see where you can get the things done easily. If you are thinking that if it is going to be difficult, just ask question. And well, and the end of this session will be validating our results, like how to means kind of verify whether we have done right thing and whether it is doing the right way. And definitely I will be sharing some useful resources with you all, so that you can also try and play with stuff. So this session is going to be both for beginners as well as if you are having idea about this topic, well and good. If not, don't worry, we'll have you covered. So moving on to why about this topic, why should we care about this? The whole session is around Jenkins, and as we all aware, like Jenkins plays a private role in our DevOps toolset, and it enables like automation, integration, flexibility, scalability, visibility as well, and definitely it has community support, making it like a very good choice tool for some organization to go with. Actually, it also helps software delivery and improve collaboration across the development and operations team, and even QA at times. So definitely what we are going to do with this Jenkins is we are going to cover multi-platform deployments where we have diverse project requirements, development workflows, develop different tool sets that are involved in the project life cycle. And there might be a chance, suppose you have development team using different types of machines like Windows machines to develop the software, or even sometimes Linux machines to develop software. And there might be a quick thing that you would always like to have, like checking your deployment build step and running deployment locally or virtually. So to solve those type of problems and kind of when we do that type of stuff, we have the big headache is like maintenance. So when we take Jenkins as a DevOps tool into a consideration, there are a couple of dependencies, there are a couple of complexities involved, those in terms of updates and upgrades, because Jenkins is like it is it is also deployed and developed daily, weekly, and monthly. So we always have a new version of Jenkins available each day or each week or each month. So we always prefer long-term support type of um, Jenkins installation. But definitely with going Java upgrades or the dependencies upgrade, we always have to keep in mind that Jenkins has to be again the latest version, and it is having all the Java support and other dependencies supported. So looking at that complexity, we'll always would like to have such a platform where we don't have to worry about those type of updates and upgrades. And and also configuration is one more challenge when we have this versioning specifically for Jenkins, because there might be an application which is specifically developed for one Java version or this type of Jenkins version, and such likewise. So there might be a challenge, and in terms of at least I would say for testing. So if you have a product which is compatible, or if you want to make it compatible with different type of versions, then there might be a chance that you will like to have different type of Jenkins installed on your machine, and get that done. But always, again, as I say, like installing different versions, different type of underlying Java is not possible. So multiple environments having in your machine locally is not a big, I mean, it's not a like a good thing to have. So to solve that problem, what we can do. So the fundamental setup here is containerization, and how is going to do that is with Jenkins and Docker combined together. Here I'm just trying to showcase you the Docker disco with Jenkins DJ, because all our Jenkins is going to be played on Docker disco. So think like a fun part of it, like Docker is like your dance floor where your application rock and roll using Jenkins. So we'll see how it will help you to solve some of the problems. And before that, for those people who are like new to Jenkins or Docker concept, we'll have some quick introduction. So what is Jenkins? As most of us already are, like, it is a continuous integration tool readily available for continuous delivery and deployment. It is very famous because it is open source, and also there are some other uh, enterprise versions also available for this. So people choose based on their requirements, and a good part of it is like it is developed as a pipeline as a code. So when you say pipeline as a code, it can be easily shippable from one to other place, and using Jenkins file. And you can also use version control system to do all the stuff with Jenkins, and extensibility with different type of plugins available with the Jenkins, which will help in one or other way. It also gives you a good UI in terms of Blue Ocean. It gives you a Git support or Docker support, or even hundreds of other code scan tools or plugins, I would say, or even some REST API support. So it's very extensible in terms of usage. So that's why it's making one of the famous choice for development team or QA team to go and use that. Sorry. Yeah, moving on to Docker. So Docker is again very famous these days because it is being used as a containerization platform. It simplifies the process of building, shipping, and the running application by packaging them into containers. It's making also lightweight and portable containers. So why container matters is because it encapsulates all your dependencies libraries into uh, into one single Docker image to run that application, ensuring consistency and eliminating that, yeah, it was working on my machine, but it's not working on production, or it's not working on your test system. So to eliminate those kind of possibilities and dialogues, mostly between dev and QA, or QA and ops, or dev and ops, so we try to make it containerized. We make images out of those, because images like again means it's having everything that you need for your application to run. It can be read-only template, so all dependencies source code that you need, you can means put that into your image. You can have that centralized into your Docker registry. As in example, if you take it's a Docker hub, you can just upload your image and make it private, public, whatever, based on your requirement, and make it available to download and pull from anywhere in the world. So in terms of flexibility also, it's very good, and it's very secure also. And Docker engine is something which will help you to enable and create means enable the creation and management of containers. So it's basically consist of daemon process and command line interface for interacting with container and images. So it is basically the component which is running behind the scene, and it will enable you all that good feature that you can find out into Docker containerization. So when you have this containerization, there is one more concept like orchestration. So and there might be several tools available, but I will take just two example, very famous Docker Swarm and Kubernetes, like orchestrating managing containers at scale. So scalability is again possible with the Docker containers. We'll not go into that today, but just for a conceptual purpose, I'm just covering this topic so that load balance type of things or service discovery or making it available at large volume, you can use this container orchestration. So that was pretty much of quick introduction about this topic. Now we'll see like how we can solve this. As I said, like containerization is fine, but how we can put that Jenkins into Docker container. And there are some basic commands, or I would say setup is required. So we'll see how to set up the Docker. So it is our, as I was saying, like it is a dance floor that we are going to use, and to have that, we need to install that. And we'll also see that some commands like how Docker will enable us to use Jenkins inside the container. And there is one more option that we can run Docker container as daemons. We'll see what that means and how it is helpful. And at the end, we'll also see like how the basic Jenkins configuration is being done, what are the options available, and what things you can do with that. So very high level objective for putting Jenkins in your Docker container. So we'll start with the download and installation. As I was saying, like you can have multiple development teams spread across different locations, or using different subsystems, or for working or coding the development process. So they can have either Mac, Windows, Linux, and in some cases where they will also have this sorry they will also have this ZCX, which is a ZOS container extension available for running some type of stuff. So we are covering all these together to see, except Mac, because that's like mostly like Linux system. Means the setup is like wise, so slightly changed, but we'll cover Windows, Linux, and ZCX today. And once you install, so I put the installation link. Sorry, I guess there is a time. Okay, so there is a installation link given in this slide, and if you look at those installation, it is very straightforward. Just download and install. In terms of Linux, it is bit different, but you can do it. So you can do it Docker desktop as well as the other type of package installation. And once you install that, you can run these two commands. So Docker PS is basically to get the containers available on your system, and Docker info will tell you what means what version you are installed with, and details about the installation path and dependencies. Okay, and now we'll see how to put Jenkins inside Docker container. So we have seen that the solution was to put Jenkins inside Docker container. Now we have Docker. Now we have now we know that Jenkins is our go-to the solution. But how simply we can do it? So I tried to put such a commands or such a way that it can be used on any platform, be it Linux, Windows, or even GCX for that matter. And you just need to have slight tricks for each platform. So here I will also explain wherever it is required. So first thing first, we'll have to search the Jenkins image available. On top of it, if you have specific requirements like package installation as well, like Git package or Python package or any other required package for your application to be running, you can also add that in your Docker image. So first you pull your Jenkins image as a base image and then probably modify image with adding more packages or dependencies that are required for your application to run. And on top of that, once you have that, you just need to first once you pull that, on top of that, you just need to uh, run the container using pull image. Yeah, run the container using pull image with docker run command. Okay, so I gave snippets of the commands exactly how it is going to be, where I just gave very basic example of it, because if you are able to start this container using this command, you are almost done with the setup. So uh, there is also a link provided, hub.docker.com, which is a kind of container registry for you to download and search what type of image is available for Jenkins. There is a box in green. You might not see that, but if you are um, not able to view, just download this presentation from the invite and um, just have a look. Like it supports Linux, Windows, and different type of architectures, including IBM Z. So this is very important whenever you choose the image for your container running. So here I could see like docker run command with port 8080. So we are exposing 8080 port for this Jenkins, and then we are restarting on failure because there might be a chance the system might get stopped out, or maybe some error message um, with daemon or something. If you might not be sure about the what is happening in the background, but you want to make sure that your Jenkins is always running, so you can add this option like -- restart equal to on failure. That will make sure that whenever there is a failure, it will restart automatically. And -v is version volume, sorry, to make your local directory mount on your, sorry, your Jenkins directory, home directory mount on your local directory, because it is required to persist your data, and it is important in terms of if you're running it for longer time or for bigger purpose. So this is also optional. So if you are just doing it for specific task for that specific time, you can just ignore the volume mapping, and it is also okay to run without that. So both options available, and that's why I have given you a sample command with the volume mapping. But here you can replace your local directory with actual where you are running or where you want to have the backup of Jenkins home, so that it will work properly. And here you can see that I am using this long-term support JDK 17 version of Jenkins image. If you can use latest tag to get the latest image that is available in the Docker Hub registry. If you want specific Jenkins instance or specific Jenkins version or JDK version, you can do that as well. So however, you just need to provide the tag, as I said, like Docker pool, image name, and tag. So tags should be specific to your requirement. Yeah. Once you run this Docker command, there are more option available. Like I was saying about running as a daemon. So -d is the thing that runs behind the scene. So you don't have to worry. And actually, when you run without daemon, what happens is when you close the terminal or window or command prompt or PowerShell window, it also close your shut downs your container. So to avoid that, we suggest to run your container with -d. which will make sure that even if you close your terminal session, it won't let your Jenkins down. And there is one more option available, like handling large workloads or improving concurrency and performance. You can add Java options available with -- environment as a environment variable. However, it is only required if you are running a large workload, and if you are running very small or basic thing, you don't need to have that. So I just gave you in terms of where you want to have only specific Jenkins instances, but with supporting large workloads and improving concurrency, you can use this. Okay. However, you can see that Docker run command is all same. There is no difference. So all these options that are being showcased here on this window, they are optional, and you can add them as you are specific to the project. Once you run this Docker command, it will first pull the Docker image from Docker Hub. So here you can see that I ran this command and with volume mapping, and specifically it's for the LTS JDK 17. Then you can see that it has started pulling the image. And once you pull the image, it will also start the container with running on different platforms. So here, what I have just given is this process is specifically means this run command is specific to system, but when you run this command on Linux or Windows or GCX, the output is almost same. Almost. Okay. So however, for just differentiation purpose, I just named him as like Jenkins on Linux. This is Jenkins on Windows, but I did not name it. And this is Jenkins on GCX. So they're all running on 8080 port. They're all having some type of volume mapping and they are running all with latest tag. So I just here earlier command I was showing LTS as a long-term support JDK 17 image, but later I changed to latest. So if you're not sure about what version you would need, just put the latest tag. It will put it will just pull the whatever available version for that Jenkins image. So if you look at this slide, this is how exactly it's running on multi-platform using same type of implementation approach. Okay, so Docker run command, Docker pull, searching image is all same. However, you just need to ensure that it supports the each type of systems or architecture. Okay, so here we are supporting, suppose we have downloaded x86 architecture, x86 64 architecture, then Windows architecture, and then GCS is like S390X. So all that are running using the same implementation approach. So that's why we were focusing to have it on multiple platform, so that you can distribute your workload, so that you can distribute your teams as well. Because if your development team wants something locally on GCX or Windows, you don't have to go to different server, do the installation, do the dependent Java installation and run this show. Rather, you can just simply um, adopt the approach with Docker containerization, do it locally wherever you are running your source code, do it in small chunks, and just dispose this container if you are not using it anymore. So that's how it is important to put that into Docker container. Once you run this Docker command, and once your container is up and running, the very next step is like Jenkins unlock and its configuration. So all three platforms will shows the same configuration for Jenkins, and that's where I'm not differentiating it based on the platform where I'm running. So here you can see that first step is unlock Jenkins. It also it is being like launched using web interface and running on any browser of your choice, like localhost :8080, and it just opens this first window, unlock Jenkins. Without unlock, it is not possible to use the Jenkins UI. So you will have to do some unlock Jenkins and setting up configuration for Jenkins, and making some user ID to log into Jenkins. So we'll see how those works. And here you can see that in red red color, there is a directory available which says like where the initial password is present. So just go to that directory using docker exec command. So here I just gave the docker exec command -it. So it will just open in the interactive terminal and the name of your container. So Jenkins on Linux. So here I am showing you one example as Jenkins on Linux and bash. So we want it to open it as a terminal. Once you have that open or executed, so you can see that now it is changed. So Jenkins at the container ID. So this is your container ID, and I am just doing cat for that directory that has been given to unlock the Jenkins. And when you do this, you will get the password initial that is set up for Jenkins. You just need to put that into this text box and continue on the screen. Then immediately after that, if it is all good, it will just go to configure Jenkins. There are again two options available. So install suggested plugins or select plugins to install. So you have both options. Generally, suggested plugins will have basic setup like Git pipeline and all the Artifactory type of setup, and even I guess it also has some type of supports to different build tools. So it's up to you what type of plugin. So if you want to make it more lightweight, you can just select plugins that are required to be installed. So you have both options to do that, and it is up to you what and how you want. So I am here selecting install suggested plugins, which is the default option. And once you do that, it just get started with installing. Here as I was saying, like it is doing Git and some basic ant build and I think some more like Maven and pipeline stuff getting installed. So it will do, I think it also has the email type of facility also with default setup, and it is just for initial purpose, and you can still add from manage plugins, and you can add more plugins at the end of the installation. However, this is just to start with the Jenkins. You can select both option, or sorry, select one of the option and continue with the setup process. So once they are all installed, it will all be in green, and then immediately after that you will have the option like create first admin user. It is always recommended to use your own admin user, because it is best practice to have. You can put username, password, and confirm password and the name for that user and the email ID. So it depends on your organization policy what type of user you would like to have. However, means it is again individual choice. If they are doing it for personal purpose or just for local purpose, so they can do it. Okay. And once it is done, you just click on save and continue. So it will ask the next thing like instance configuration. So what type of URL you want, you can put that as like your machine name :8080. You can just put local host 8080. You just put IP address :8080. It's up to you again. It has given us chance to modify and update as we need to go through it, and it's not like a hard and fast that we need to do this way only. So I'm choosing here default, which is localhost 8080, and that's all. When we say like finish, the Jenkins will be immediately ready. Now we'll come to the part where the Python application is there, and we want to make it as like a deployment ready. So here I have taken a Git repo, very basic Git repo. I just made it for demonstration purpose. Consider that your source code is on Git repo. However, it is not limited to this. You can have it anywhere. However, make sure that you are able to access that repo or the local directory, so that you can build or you can have access to that source code. Here you can see that there is a Git repo which has a couple of Python programs and Jenkins file. So Python programs are like app to launch web application. So here I am demonstrating a web application to be launched, actually deploy and installed with this. Jenkins file. So it's a declarative pipeline which will build and deploy the application. And then once it is deployed, it will just launch the web application using run command. So I'm not taking the run into consideration right now because it will again be a different process. So here we will just see that how it is built and deployed. So consider this is source code, and once you make the Jenkins file, here I have given the sample Jenkins file. So here you can see that it's a declarative git checkout. What will do is it will just check out your source code. It will build using Python build command. And basically you have to provide the parameters that are required to build your Python package or application. And once it is built, you can have just set up or install command to make that installation or deployment happen. Again, this is very basic example. You can extend it to the level you want, and you can make it trigger automatic or manual to build and deploy. So some people like always try to go for the option where they, as soon as they commit source code to the Git repo, they want to have this build and deployed on the target system. So you can also do that somewhere if you are not sure about the Git commits that you are doing, and you don't want to run this process 100 times a day, then you can probably do it manually. So that's up to you again. And again, this Jenkins file is also present in Git repo. So that is also being run or executed through Git as a repo. And that will get downloaded in your Jenkins instance first, workspace first. Once it is downloaded, it will be executed to run these steps like checkout, build, and deploy. Here you can see that I ran this pipeline. You can see that it was executed in some time. Since it was very small web application to display some message, it executed quickly. However, based on your application type or the the size, it may take some time, and you can divide this into different parts also. So you can also have email notification added or approvals added in the Jenkins pipeline. So important part here is that it is running on your local host. So this is specific, this instance is specific to you. So no one is affected with this build and deploy. No one is getting the different errors, or if you are checking something specific to your code, no one has to bother about what he is doing and she is doing like that. So it is up to you what you are doing, what you are running, and where you are running. So that's how it is important to do it locally using containerization. And we'll validate also like results, because running is fine, executing is fine, but is it running or solving our purpose? Yes or no? That we have to ensure that when we are having full setup ready, full source code ready, full means a Docker container is running. So here you can see that I just have the Docker image inspect command to get the architecture type. So as I was running the Linux based Jenkins container, it is showing as AMD 64 as an architecture, or it can be also called as x86 64 type of architecture. However, for GCX or type of architecture, it is like S390X, and you can do it using the same inspect command. So just ensure that you are doing it right. You're taking the right image for your application to build and deploy. And here I was just capturing that earlier Jenkins pipeline screenshot, which says like what are the steps taken to build and deploy. So here you can see that the stages are defined, and at the end you can see that finish success. That means that you are able to run your build and deploy step with given Python programs or the packages that are required to be installed along with that setup. And that's how you will always ensure that this is going to be a right one, that what you're building. Similarly, for GCX, I just gave another example. Here you can see that it is a shell script I'm doing it a bit different way because I would like to, because here I did not add dependency for Python and other application dependency for my application to run on GCX. So here I took an example of shell script because it will also give you chance to understand that it is not limited to just Python application. You can also do any type of shell script or any type of application with adding dependency in your base image. So you can take Jenkins as a base image or any other image as a base image, and then install Jenkins and Python and Node.js, whatever type of application development you're doing. And once you are done with that, probably you can run the flow with the same commands, verify, set up the Jenkins and verify the results. So here you can see that there is an instance running of Jenkins on GCX, and it is basically showing you the console output again, which is running on 80 for security purpose. I just hide the IP, but again, you can have a choice to change this URL to some other logical URL or logical host name. So here I just hide host name, but it is running on GCX, and here you can see that I ran a couple of things here to showcase that it's running successful, and here green arrow means it is successful. Coming on to what other problems you may solve. Again, this is not specific to what I have showcased, so it is one of the problem that you can solve. And there might be a like a situation where you would need Jenkins instances specifically for diverse project requirement or workflows. As I was explaining, that you need for source code verification, like installing SonarQube or Artifactory build stuff, or any type of any kind of stuff that you want to run on your Jenkins, like web development instance. You can have mobile development as a separate instance. You can also have microservices services development into separate Jenkins instance, and some instance can be used as a infrastructure as code to build all other Jenkins instances. So you can use Jenkins itself to manage all other infrastructure uh, that are built for Jenkins. And also nowadays it's famous like a data analytics Jenkins instance. Few people wants to go and check what are the types of Jenkins instance that they can be do for data verification. So to isolate all that type of workload, to not bother each other and not to mix up things, you can isolate using Jenkins container. And for me, why this means thought came in my mind is because um, we now we know that Jenkins is moreover supporting the higher versions of Java, and is getting it is like stopping support to Java version 8 or below. So, and you might be having some application running with some specific Java requirement. To solve that purpose and to solve that problem, it is very important to have that Jenkins specifically installed for that Java, because I know it is crucial to run your business rather than just moving on to next version and newer version. So unless and until we are set up on new version fully, we have to have our older version running and up all the time. So to solve that type of problems also, you can use this type of situation solution, and it will definitely help you build a stronger and reliable software. So there might be, I mean, again, hundreds of other problems that you can solve, but this is basic I would think of. And I think everyone might be again thinking from their organization perspective, like what things they might be having to run specifically on Jenkins for shorter span or for shorter time. So suppose if there is a QA team which is specifically running some test cases or test scripts, but they don't want to do it on large big Jenkins server. They don't want Linux machines to separate to provide it for Jenkins installation. They can go for small. As soon as they build their automation script into any IDE, they can quickly go into Jenkins and do checkout and see that test scripts are running okay or not. So those kind of use cases are very much important, and I think definitely this solution is going to help them. So I'm giving you some resources which are like useful and very means these are not again limited to what we are doing. So but this like these three will be your starting point. So how you can run Jenkins with Docker, I gave you resource. um, if you're just follow my steps, you will also able to do it. However, the first URL that is given, it is bit like explanatory, and it will have 100 more steps as well. But there might be a chance like you don't need everything to be set up. So just follow this installation type what I have showcased, and you will be able to run your first Jenkins instance. Then Docker, again Docker based on your system type, you can get an install. And if you face any issue, there is a Docker community available which will help you definitely. If you are not sure about how to get the answer, just do let me know. I will also be able to help you. And there is a Jenkins image for Docker. So as I was showcasing, I think for first few sites, like we have Jenkins image available on Docker Hub. So this is the exact URL where you can find and install Jenkins. If you are not only required to have Jenkins, you can have another base image and you can add Jenkins into it. So it depends on your requirement, but from what the topic says, I gave the resource to go with that. And yeah, so that's about it. And I think I'm ready to take questions if any.
Hey, Sujit, that was really good. So I know you talked a little bit about Docker on IBM Z.
Yeah.
So that was that for the Z Linux side for
That was for GCX, which is running
GCX?
on, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
Z Linux again will work in the same way, where you will have the specific Z Linux virtual machine running inside your ZOS. So more or less process is same. However, um, the systems are different.
okay, so and I know there was some announcement by IBM about containers being available under COS. Is there anything at all about that you've had a chance to look at, or what are your sort of thoughts about that?
So I think it's going to be a container platform they are planning to launch. So it's far behind what we are thinking of. So I think it is just announced in last year event. So I haven't explored it, but definitely it is going to be a game changer here.
Okay, so, and if you were running, so let's assume that you were running a container on ZCX.
Mm-hmm.
What would be, and you bring that all up and you bring that all up natively, what would be the reason to do that versus just running it on another instance somewhere else, perhaps on a sort of Intel machine, you know, that you have in your server farm, or you have on your desktop, or on a public cloud? What is there anything about that ZCX that you think that gives it a lot of extra sort of vavavoom to be able to work with the rest of the IBM Z ecosystem?
It depends on what type of application you want to run on Jenkins. It's not purely like Python application. So if you're looking for an application which has to be run on S390X type of architecture, then probably it will help in that situation. So I think from that perspective, it will be helpful. Otherwise, means there is like very less kind of requirement, because it has very limited storage as well. That's why I think IBM is more going into GCS container platform rather GCX, because as recently I was facing one of the problem where we were having limited space and performance issue with GCX, though we upgraded, because GCX itself is running in VM, so it's not running that fast and that far. So yeah, definitely it has some limitations.
Cool. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, so there's about 15 minutes left. I know, does anybody else have any more questions? Want to put them in the chat? I will just paste in a link
Yeah.
directly into the chat if you don't already know it. So this is session 4M, and that link will directly let you click it and give Sujit feedback. Make sure you enter the scores in the right order. I know sometimes people enter the sort of really negative score because they think it's a high score, and you know, just no, read the instructions before you hit the buttons.
Right.
Yeah, thanks very much. And you've got your QR code there, which is excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got
So,
one quick question for you, Sujit, and I'm just going to throw
yeah.
this little curveball for you, but we've got you on. So just imagine that you were sort of you were king for a day, and you had, infinite budget to do something incredible that you wanted to do with the platform, to do with Jenkins, to do with everything that you've done. What would be your wish? What would you want to see? What would you want to see? What's the sort of number one blocker, the thing that makes you most annoyed that it isn't done, that you wake up every day and think, gosh, that's so stupid. I wish I could have that fixed. I'm just giving you a wish,
Okay, so it may be again storage when we have when we are asking for virtual machines. So definitely storage is a big problem, and making it run for longer time is also problem. So we have to extend all the time that the availability of that virtual machine from say suppose it is provided or provisioned for 1 year, then again we have to kind of extend its validity to few more years. So rather than doing it, so first of all, straightforward ask like how many days you want, how many core machines you want, what is the basic RAM you would like to have, things like that, and storage definitely. So having or making it limited all the time is not an option. And again, for maximum size also it is limited. Again, when we say maximum, it is not like unlimited, it is still at some cap. So there might be a chance if we are running more than one or two CI/CD type of tools on single virtual machine, say suppose Linux machine, there might be some conflicts when people start running agents on those Linux machines, and again end up with no space or less space. So yeah, that may be my take.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one. Yeah, amen on. So is that a limitation of BMC's internal infrastructure that lets you provision those through some support desk, or is that a limitation of the platform?
Okay, not BMCs means we have been managing in such a way that means when we started managing, so we are taking it at a maximum size that we would require to have. But when we go with some providers like cloud providers, I would say, that means again it all comes with the cost, and you get limited chance when you have the POC type of stuff. So I think for training and research purpose, at least they should give some time of a free thing, and probably then they can dispose at the end of project. So that will help.
Yeah,
So,
no. Another one about storage, I know that I often hear. I was actually I was very lucky to be at a conference. I think it was a share conference in Orlando recently, and we had a bit of a kind of jam about modernizing the platform. And there was somebody there, and he said, for him to create a file, it took him half a day, and he had to learn all about tracks and blocks and cylinders, and basically go down this kind of history rabbit hole of how wide a punch card is, or what various, how many, how wide a tape is, and you have to, and sometimes you just think, I have this huge machine with gazillions of terabytes on it, just play nice. No, absolutely, yeah. But then on the same hand, when you talk to the sort of DASV and storage and security administrators, they can't just let people run loose over everything. And you're right. And there are obviously business costs involved with allocating things and SLAs. It's sort of dichotomy. Cool. Okay. Well, I think, I'll stay until the end of the session, but if folks have more questions, please pop them in. Sujit and I would be the last ones to sort of shut the door. Thanks again. That was an excellent session. And then in this room 4, there's some really great sessions coming up next. And there's lots of other things going on in the GSE agenda. So I'd encourage all of you to look at the agenda. I know sometimes you have to click and add something to your calendar to get the invite, but you've probably worked out by now there's a number of rooms, and if you have the invite for the room, you can just join that room and you'll be in whatever that room is showing at that particular time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's key to join the session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And we're all giving you a round of applause. We're all silently clapping you, which is, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Sujit.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.